Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me once again. It's November 6th, 2024. This is Upon Further Review with Sean Tomlin, and I'm your host, Sean Tomlin. We're going to be breaking down all the action that happened in Week 9, and that started off on Thursday night. Thursday night, we had the Texans going up against the Jets, and the Jets ended up pulling out the victory 21-13. It was nice to see the Jets get the victory, but it was also a little concerning to see the way the Texans played that night. Obviously, losing Stefon Diggs is a pretty big deal, so we'll see if they can keep that going next week in their matchup. Hopefully, they're able to pull back and be the team that they were just a couple weeks ago. On Sunday morning, we had the Cowboys lose to the Falcons 27-21. It was a 3-day TD night for Cousins, which was nice to see him constantly over the past couple of weeks putting up great numbers, being a very consistent quarterback. Falcons might be a team that you're looking and saying, hey, maybe this is a team that can go all the way and make a nice deep playoff run. Unfortunately, Dak Prescott left the matchup, so kind of tough to say if it's going to be a bad thing, because Cooper Rush might be an improvement, because it is Dak Prescott. One concerning thing I did see in that one was the play calling that was going on. I thought it was very mediocre and pedestrian. Hopefully they can pick that up. Maybe McCarthy is one of those coaches that you're saying maybe they should move on from him and start doing something else, because they have good players on their team. They have a good, talented team. They're just not living up to the bill. Next matchup, we had the Broncos lose to the Ravens 41-10. Man, those Ravens, they are sick as fuck. And Bo Nix actually looked pretty decent. He's he has 5 wins now on the season, same amount as John Elway in his rookie season. So it's the first time the Broncos have had a starting quarterback since John Elway. So it's nice to see that he's actually putting up consistent numbers. Almost kind of wish that Bo Nix was on the Colts. Too bad that was the year after they had already got Richardson. So that was fun. Then the Dolphins lost to the Bills 30-27. That was actually a really entertaining match to watch. It was nice to see the Bills offense starting to actually be the Bills, or not the Bills offense, the Dolphins offense starting to actually do what they're supposed to be and build to be doing, which they haven't been living up to the past little while. Yes, they didn't have Tua because he's got his brain scrambled again, but now he's back and he looks like he's a little bit more competent than he was before. He's sliding, doing all the things that you should be doing. But the Bills ended up winning that game on a 61-yard field goal in the dying seconds of the game, so that was really entertaining to watch. Did not think he had anywhere near enough leg to get that win, but man, what a kick. Our next matchup in the morning was the Panthers beating the Saints. Who would have seen the Panthers beating anybody? They ended up winning 23-22. Not a game-winning field goal. So you might look at that and be like, oh, that should have been a game-winning field goal, but it's the Panthers. They don't do anything normal. Next matchup, we had the Bengals beating the Raiders 41-24. Well, I haven't seen too much out of the Raiders all season long, so I didn't really have any high hopes of them putting up any good numbers. They're kind of in shambles right now, especially with the trade of Devontae Adams. Not that he was doing anything there in the first place, but it's always good to have at least one good playmaker. I think Jacoby Myers had actually a pretty good evening. So Devontae, maybe you should have stayed there, because you're not looking much better with the Jets. But you wanted to be around your buddy Rodgers, so whatever. Chargers beat the Browns 27-10. Saw that one coming because the Browns are, as always, a giant dumpster fire. And now I believe Andrew Berry's saying that they're non-committal about him being the starter next year when he comes back being healthy, because they haven't really seen anything from him. The Commanders beat the Giants 27-22. That game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought the Commanders were going to completely blow out the Giants. Maybe the Giants aren't complete garbage. Maybe. I'll say it right now. I don't think that's true. I think they are hot garbage. But, you know. Titans beat the Pats 20-17 on a game-winning field goal. Awesome. Frickin' loved that. Love seeing the Patriots lose. As always. You know why. But I will say Drake May actually had a pretty good game. He had this amazing game-tying touchdown to take it to overtime. So that was really awesome to see. He was scrambling around back there for like 60 seconds before he had to actually throw it. And one of his linemen actually wasn't even doing anything on the entire play. Like, he was pretending to block everybody. And when people came in his way, he didn't block anybody anyway. So it was just like, what are you even doing out there, bud? We'll move on to Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon, we had the Cards beat the Bears 29-9. Man, I thought the Bears were a little bit more bearish. Is that even something? I don't know. But I thought the Bears were going to have a good game. I thought they were going to be able to capitalize on the porous Cardinals defense, but the Cardinals decided to say, hey, we're actually pretty good. Who would have seen that one coming? Eagles beat the Jags 28-23. That was an awesome game. That was probably the game of the week. Shaquan Barkley was just going off, just crazy with his jelly bean fucking legs, fucking running backwards, hurdling over people. Just, man, what a game he had. He is easily by far the best running back in the entire league. I might even say the best running back I've ever seen. And I've been watching this for quite some years now. Our next matchup, we had the Lions versus the Packers. They won 24-14. I thought that match was going to be a match that came down to a game-winning field goal. The Lions are a good team. The Packers are a good team. But it was a good game. It was a good, tight game. But it just didn't come down to a one-score type thing. Next matchup, we had the Rams beat the Seahawks? Really? Apparently, last week we had Mr. Hulkamaniac, Hulk Hogan. He did the episode. And he was like, I don't want to count out those underdogs. I believe the Rams are going to win. And they did. So, he called that one right. Maybe we'll have to have him back on one of these episodes here. He was pretty good at it. Kicked my ass. That's for fucking sure. I was passed out from that sleeper hold he put me into. Really thought I could beat a 7-year-old. 8-year-old. Fuck, he's old. I didn't. Tried to take that belt from him. Just couldn't get it. But back to what we were talking about. Football. Then we had Sunday Night Football, where the Colts took on the Vikings. And unfortunately, the Colts lost to the Vikings. 21-13. Thought the Colts were going to have a little bit of a better performance that night. Thought, hey, this whole Anthony Richardson thing, they're going back to Flacco. Flacco had pretty good production when he was in the lineup. Just did not happen. Their defense was looking good, but their offense just was not there. We finished off the week with Monday Night Football with the Chiefs beating the Bucks 30-24 to keep them undefeated on the season. I don't really have much to say about the Chiefs. I'm not the hugest fan of them. I really don't like Patrick Mahomes. But, they are having a good season. They are putting the numbers together. It's always good when you have the refs in your back pocket, though, right? Then we're going to move on to some our picks from last week. Last week I was 9-6 on the picks that I made. Overall, I'm 57-33. I think those are pretty good numbers. Hogan thought they were pretty good numbers. I think they're good numbers. And this week we got on Thursday Night Football, the Bengals taking on the Ravens. In that one, I'm taking the Ravens. Why? Because they are sick as fuck. Every single one of them just fucking awesome. And they just keep adding more fucking pieces. Sunday morning, action's going to start off with the Giants versus the Panthers in Munich. I have no emotions to ever want to see that game. It doesn't sound like anything I want to fucking see. To the Giants and the Panthers, it's just a complete garbage fest. But, you know, gotta give Germany what they want, I guess. Next, we got the Bills versus the Colts. I'm taking them. Oh, because I have to pick a winner in the Giants versus the Panthers. I'm going to go Giants. Simply because the Panthers just haven't shown anything this year. Yes, they won last week with Bryce Young. They did look competitive, but I just don't see anything from them. I just don't. And I don't like the Giants either, but I got to pick one. So I'm going to go Giants. Bills versus the Colts. I'm going to take the Colts, obviously. I wonder why. Pats versus the Bears. Do I need to say who I'm picking? It's the Bears. Because it's the fucking Patriots. Come on now, guys. Been doing this for how many episodes now? You know what I want. You know what I'm thinking. And I don't want to see the Patriots win. And what am I thinking? They're going to lose all the time because it makes me happy. Next, our matchup is going to be the Vikings versus the Jags. I think I got to go Vikings in this one. Why? Yes, the Jags looked good last week, but they were playing... They look good. They were playing the Eagles, so it was just like... Eagles are going to win that one, which they did. It was a lot tighter of a matchup than I thought it was going to be, so maybe there's some promise there. But it is the Jags, and I'm not going to pick them until I see something. Broncos versus the Chiefs. Broncos do have a great defense. They do have a consistent quarterback. They don't really have any big-name wide receivers or anything like that. But you got to go Chiefs. Because they're 8-0. They're looking at going 9-0. Yes, somebody's going to beat them, but I don't think it's going to be the Broncos. Falcons versus the Saints. It seems like any time a matchup in the NFC South where two teams from the NFC South are going up against each other, seems to have been consistently a good match. Well, besides the Panthers. Like, I haven't seen a good match by them. But they seem to be, like, really good matchups. So I'm going to actually say that's probably going to be our matchup of the week. Then we got the 49ers versus the Bucs. Got to go 49ers on that one. Oh, in that matchup in the last one, I'm going to be picking the Saints. Falcons have been looking really good, but I think the Saints are going to come off the schneid. We got the Steelers and the Commanders, another game, which I think is going to be a really good game of the week. I'm going to take the Steelers on that one. 49ers and Bucs, I'm taking the 49ers. Sunday afternoon's going to start off with the Eagles versus the Cowboys. Eagles look great. You gotta like those Eagles. Like, Saquon Barkley is fucking ridiculous. But I also really like the Cowboys, and I think maybe putting in a more competent quarterback over Prescott because he's out, I think they're going to take this one. So I'm taking the Cowboys in that one. Titans versus the Chargers is our next matchup. I'm going to take the Chargers in this one because I haven't seen anything out of the Titans that resembles anything of a good football team. And they're in my division. And I'd prefer to see them lose. Got the Jets versus the Cards in the next matchup. I'm going to take the Jets on that one. Oh, Titans, Chargers, obviously I took the Chargers. Jets, I'm going to say they're going to get their second win in a row against the Cardinals. Then Sunday Night Football, we got the Lions versus the Texans. Really? We just talked about this. They're in my division. I don't want them to win. And also, they don't have that number one wide receiver right now. Nico Collins is out. Now Stephen Diggs is out. They just don't have many options to go to. They do have Dalton Schultz. They do have Tank Dell. But I just don't see them taking that matchup. Monday Night Football, we got the Dolphins versus the Rams. And now that the Dolphins are doing a little bit better, I'm going to go with them. The Rams, they've been hit or miss this year. They got Kyron Williams. They've got their wide receivers back in Cup and Nakua. Um, Obviously, Stafford leading the team. I think they could win that matchup because the Rams have been looking good. But I am going to go Dolphins that one, and I see Tyreek Hill having a great game that one. All right, we're going to move on to our next little segment here, our top threes in all positions. For quarterbacks, we had Joe Burrow with 41 plus points, Jalen Hurts with 33 plus points, and Josh Allen with 31 plus points. For our running backs, we had Jaquan Barkley with 32 plus points because he had a fucking ridiculous match, man. He was looking great. Achane, 32 plus points. And Kamara, 28 plus points. Did not see that one come from him. He did sign that 2-year extension. So, maybe he is more committed to the Saints than what he was leading on. And maybe he's actually going to start showing how good of a running back he really can be. Wide receivers, we had Smith Najigba with 38 plus points with DK Metcalf obviously being out. He's had 2 good weeks with Metcalf being out on the injury right now. Next, we had Zay Flowers, 31 plus points with those sick as fuck Ravens. Fucking just catching those balls. Then we had Garrett Wilson with 30 plus points. He had a pretty good matchup on that Thursday night against the Texans, but, it's hard to say. Like, was that a good showing by the Jets? Or was it just a really poor performance by the Texans? We'll find out. Tight ends, Gesicki had 29 plus points. He looked great in that matchup with Joe Burrow getting 5 TDs. Then we had Travis Kelce getting 22 plus points and K. Dotton, 21 plus points. Good matchups for those guys. Good performances by tight ends all year. Our next one, we got the defenses. The Rams led that pack with 48 plus points. Chargers, 41 plus points. And the Cards, 31 plus points. We're going to move over to my top 5 waiver wire pickups. Daniel Jones. I think he's somebody you're going to want to get not only onto your team, but into your starting lineup. I think he's going to have a good matchup this weekend. Jameson Williams, he's coming off a 2-game suspension for performance-enhancing drugs. So he's another guy, if he's going to be playing this weekend, get him into your lineup because I think they're going to feed him. Juwan Jennings. Now this one's kind of up in the air. He's had some great games. He's had some bad games. But obviously no Ayuk. I think Samuel's back. That's not for sure. But Juwan Jennings, if Samuel's back, having him on the other side, it's just good. You can't cover 2 people at once. So you're going to want to get him in. Josh Allen. He's not Josh Allen. Keenan Allen. He's been producing over the past couple of weeks for the Bears. I know they had a stinker last week against the Cards, but I think Keenan Allen's going to have good production for you. And then the Chargers defense. Chargers defense has been pretty surprising as of late, so I think you're going to want to get them started. Alrighty. Let's move on to what happened in Clusterfuck last week. We had Nate, Billy Bob Jr., beating Les's team, Tropic Thunder. With the win, Nate, you're 7-2. With a loss, Les, you're 3-6. It was a 133.80 to 103.95 victory. Nate, you were led by Tank Dell, 19 plus points. Oh wait, that's the other way around. Les, you were led by Tank Dell, 19 plus points. And the Texans defense, 19 plus points. Nate, you were led by Lamar Jackson, 31 plus points. And Myers, my writing is horrible. I'm sorry about that. Jacoby Myers, 19 plus points. So that was a good one to get in there, Nate. Nate's perfect against Les this year, 2-0. 2-2 all time in their 4 matchups that they've had since the beginning of the league. Nate's been led by Jackson 3 weeks in a row. 4 to 5 weeks his team's been led by him. So obviously somebody you've got to keep putting in there because the Ravens are fucking sick. And then Les, you had a close. You're close after the morning matchups, but by the end of Sunday, you looked to be dead in the water, and there was just no coming back for you. Maybe you're gonna have a better weekend this weekend. I doubt it, because you're going against me. All right, our next matchup, we had Dan past the Dutch, losing to Caden. Golf is better. Caden with the loss, you went to 6-3. With the win, Dan, you went to 3-6. It was a 142.95 to 190.25 loss for Dan. Dan, you were led by Allen, 31 plus points, and Chase Brown, 27 plus points. Caden, you were led by Joe Burrow and Zay Flowers. Joe Burrow had 41 plus points, and Zay Flowers had 31 plus points, as I had just alluded to before. Caden, you scored the most points this week. Congratulations, bud. Proud of you. Caden and Dan sit at 1-1 in their games against each other this season. And Caden has, you held the lead all day. And there wasn't a matchup in the entire league where the person who started the week winning, getting points, and having a little bit of a lead, they never relinquished it. None of the matchups. I know I got fucking destroyed. And why? Because that's the next matchup we're going to break down. We had my team, the Monty Lake Colts, losing to Lawson's team, Andy Reid, Anal Bead. With the win, Lawson, you went to 5-4. With the loss, I went to 4-5. It was a 178.70 to 107.55. Ouch. I think that was the most points anybody lost this week. Yeah, I think it was the most points anybody lost by. By far. I've never beaten Lawson. He's 3-0 against me. It's the second loss I've had to him against this season. So it's a little tough because I just bash his fucking team name all the time. And then when I go to play against him, he just kicks my ass. Yeah, Lawson, you had a commanding lead all day. Like I was saying before, I never could come back. Our next matchup was Ty's team. Protect your holes. Losing to Graham's team. G-Spot. It was a 176.65 to 133.20 victory for Graham. Graham sits 6-3 after the victory. Ty, you've dropped down to 3-6. You were led by Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp with 22 plus points each. Graham, you were led by Shaquan Barkley because he was ridiculous this weekend. And H.N., 32 plus points each guy. Graham led by... He was pretty much led by Barkley, H.N., and Henry, the best three running backs that you could have ever right now. So it's kind of hard to ever bet against them. I think they had, 91 points altogether? Like, that's fucking ridiculous. Graham led huge after the first round and continued it, and Ty was never able to come back, just like I was saying before. In our final matchup of the weekend, we had Simon's team, the Mark Davis Bowl Cut, beat Shane's team, the GB Packers. With the loss, Shane, you went to 4-5. Simon, with the victory, you went to 4-5. Good to see. It was a 165.80 to 136.45 victory. Simon, you're led by Wilson with 30 plus points, and the Jets defense with 29 plus points. Shane, you were led by Mahomes and Jefferson, 29 and 22 plus apiece. Simon, you are unbeaten against Shane all time. 4-0. And you're 2-0 against him this season. So, obviously, you've got Shane's number. And, of course, Simon, you had a commanding lead all day. And Shane was never really come any close. No cigar for him. Alrighty. We're going to get into our Goal to Go segment. It's going to be our final thoughts, finish it off for the week. Every team, like I was saying, that started the week on top, finished on top at the end of the week. Don't always see it. It would have been nice to see maybe one match that was kind of flip-floppy, but we didn't see it. We didn't see it at all. And then Quarterbacks. We're running wild. Ooh, what a rush. It was fucking awesome to see. And then, Barkley, you're fucking unbelievable. Really? You jump and hurdle a guy backwards? What a fucking game you had. Huge fucking gains all fucking day. Like, the man looked like a fucking man possessed. Bo Nix, you're looking really good. You're looking calm and cool. You're not doing everything, but you're not doing nothing. You're right in the middle. You're doing pretty good there. Daniel Jones had his first TD in New York since last New Year's Eve. So that's going to feel good for him to actually get a touchdown at home. Who would have guessed? You give the guy $160 million guaranteed, and you can only get one touchdown so far at home this year. Man, the Ravens are sick as fuck. I just can't not say that enough. They are just sick as fuck. Never more of those fucking Ravens called from above my fucking door. Damn! Young, is he starting to live up to the billing? It's kind of early to say. He's only had one matchup where he actually looked good this year. If he can keep that going over the next few matchups, maybe we'll see he's not a complete fucking bust. But right now, good job. You had a good match. Congratulations. You should have had more. You should have been starting a lot fucking more. Taysom the Terrible had another fucking TD for the Saints today. Or on the weekend. Man, that guy's ridiculous. Sometimes he's passing for them. Sometimes he's rushing for them. Sometimes he's catching for them. Because that is his position. But then other weeks, he'll be fucking nowhere. You'll be like, why did I fucking start this guy? You got me 4 touchdowns last week. Now you got 1 yard. He's such a hard one to pick. Dak Prescott's going to be out for a few weeks with a hamstring injury, they're saying. Although, is it a hand injury? Because they're saying a hamstring. But his hand was pretty fucking bloody on the sidelines. And a great fucking clip. They show him and he's like, man, we fucking suck. It's true. Like, they're just not living up to the billing. And I honestly think it's all on McCarthy. I think they got to move on from him, get rid of him, get somebody else in there because they have a lot of talent on that team. And Drake May. Don't usually talk about Patriots. Man, that guy is fucking looking good. Like, fuck. That play that he had to get that touchdown and tie to kick it overtime, that was ridiculous. Ridiculous. I did not see that coming out of that guy. Everyone was like, oh, Drake May. I was like, I haven't seen anything yet. Obviously, yeah, they started Jacoby Brissett, and he's played, I think this was his 3rd game. He didn't really show too much the last 2. And then this one, he just fucking was like, I'm leading this fucking team. It's fucking time to go. And then we're going to finish it off with the Sun God, Amon-Ra. What a day for him. He didn't fucking set the world afire, but he had a pretty good matchup. The guy's amazing. I saw on that Receivers show, he was highlighted last year, and he had hand, foot, and mouth disease or sickness or whatever the fuck you call it for a game, and he still went out there and fucking balled. Although, he's literally it feels like I'm walking on pins and needles and shit like that, and I can barely breathe, and my fucking hands feel like someone's putting pins into them and shit. So, it was great to see him go through that, and it made me have a little bit more respect for him. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us. This is going to be the end of the show. Had great reviews and responses to Hulk being the host last week, so definitely going to try and bring him back for some commentary, have a little back and forth with them. But, Hulkster, you did a good job last week. But you're not taking my job. This is my job. This is my show. You can be a guest. And I'm going to take over. Hulkamania's not going to be running wild like that. Not every time. But yes, everyone, thanks for joining me once again. Have yourself a great night. And I will see you next week where I break down everything you need to know.